Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today let's do a random Sinew shirt. The shirt was prepped like normal and I have it turned inside out. If you're wondering why I do that, it's because whenever I ice dye, sometimes a few little bits of the powdered dye may not fully dissolve and they can cause some speckling on the shirt. Sometimes it kind of adds to the design, but sometimes I don't like it on the shirt. So when I turn the shirt inside out, it reduces the amount of speckling that comes through to the front of the shirt. Okay, so for this shirt, I'm going to do random sinew lines on the shirt. So to start, I'm going to find an area on the shirt. In this case, I'm going diagonally and going to gather up a portion of the fabric and tie it with some sinew. I'm gathering both layers of fabric at the same time. And I'm not actually fan folding the shirt. If you'll notice, I just kind of gathered up the shirt and began tying it with sinew. This is really a random design, so you can do this however you want to. If you want to be more precise and actually fan fold it, you're welcome to do that. In this case, I'm gathering up both layers of fabric at the same time, so like the front and the back, but you don't have to do that either. You can tie one layer of fabric at a time. It is truly random. And I think that the more random it is, the cooler the shirt usually looks. After I get the initial line tied, I'm going to just pinch off portions of the shirt and begin tying them with sinew as well. And here again, you can do as many of these sections on your shirt as you'd like to. You can make it really busy with sinew lines or just put a few. The reason why I'm using sinew for this design is because of the wax coating. The sinew that I'm using is an artificial sinew that is wax coated, and so whenever I wrap a sinew line around my shirt and tie it or pull it really tight, the sinew will lock down on itself and it's going to cause a waterproof barrier which won't allow any of the dye or the liquid to go underneath that area. So wherever I tie this sinew line, I'm going to have a white line right there once the shirt is rinsed and completed. I've also had several questions about how to get the sinew lines tight, and I think the easiest way to get a good sinew line is to have some form of sinew puller. Right now I'm using one which is a wooden sinew puller that was specifically made to pull sinew, but you don't have to have something that professional. I also have one which is a 3D printed one which I purchased from an Etsy store called Boredom with Jen. I also believe they have a website with the same name. But you can use anything as a sinew puller as long as it won't break and you can get a good grip on it and pull your sinew really tight. I've seen people use tart tampers. I even had someone suggest dog toys. For years I was just using the roll of sinew to pull with, and I was amazed whenever I started using a sinew puller how much tighter I could get my sinew lines. Okay, while I was working on some other projects, the shirt went ahead and dried out. It doesn't have to be dry, but it won't hurt it if it is. I've taken a plastic container or plastic tote, placed a plastic basket down inside of the tote, and I've placed the first basket upside down and another basket on top, right side up. That's going to keep the shirt out of the muck. Muck is the melting ice that's mixed with the dye. I'm going to place the shirt inside the basket and then add ice to the top. I broke my ice up a little bit, but I still have some big chunks in there, and that's actually okay for this design because my basket, I don't want the ice to all fall through the holes. So the larger chunks of ice kind of work well on this design. I had quite a bit of the smaller chunks go ahead and fall through the holes, so I'm going to try to gather those back up and put them on top of the shirt. Okay, so I decided to use some reds and blues together on this shirt. And I know where they mix, they're probably going to form purple, but I don't mind that. So I've chosen 3 different reds and 3 different blues. I'm going to randomly sprinkle them over the top of the ice. I'm using Chinese red, fire red, and royal blue from Dharma. And then I'm using crimson rose, ice dye blue, and blue linen from Dye Spin. Once I've added all the dye, I'm going to add an additional sprinkle of soda ash over the top of the dye and then allow the ice to melt. Once the ice melted, it looked like I had pretty good color saturation, so I just left the shirt alone and allowed it to process for about 48 hours before I started rinsing it. It doesn't necessarily have to go that long, but you should at least allow your shirt to process about 24 after the ice melts. And you also need to have it in a space that is at least 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Dye really bonds better and gets the most vibrant colors when it's warmer. It doesn't hurt for it to even be warmer than 70 degrees. I started rinsing the shirt in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. Then I untied the shirt and warmed the water up to hot and continued rinsing in hot water to rinse out the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. I went ahead and soaked the shirt instead of just continuing to rinse for a long time, and to do that I placed some really hot water in my utility sink, added some Blue Dawn dish detergent to the water, and allowed the shirt to soak. When the water cooled off, I changed it out and I continued that soaking process until the water was almost clear. Then I put the shirt along with some Dharma's Professional Textile Detergent into my washing machine and washed it using a hot water cycle. Okay, so the shirt has been washed, dried, and ironed, and let's see how it looks. Okay, so what do you guys think? I think this one turned out looking really cool. Like I said, I really like red and blue together, and I was expecting a lot of purple. And I do have some, but it's kind of a darker purple. I mean, it works together. When I look at the shirt, I primarily think red and blue. I don't automatically look at it and think, oh wow, that's like a red, blue, and purple shirt. But it did mix and make purple, but the purple that it made was a little bit darker, and I like it on this shirt. I think it works. I also like the random lines. I didn't put a whole lot on here, and so it's not overly busy, which I like. And I like the shapes that they made. The sinew lines are not perfect, meaning like that initial one that I did kind of diagonally has got some holes in it, which I think looks really cool. And part of the reason for that is because I didn't fan fold the shirt perfectly. I just kind of gathered it up and threw a sinew line around there. Honestly, I think some of these just random sinew shirts turn out looking really cool. Depending upon the colors that you use for them, a lot of times they'll end up looking more like a topographical map. This one, with the red and blue, not so much. But, if you use blue and green or some other color combinations, they look really cool like that. This shirt has lots of variation in the intensity of color, but it doesn't have a whole lot of color splits. Or if it does have any color splits, I am not really seeing them as much as I'm just seeing, where the colors mixed. So overall, I really like this shirt. I think it turned out looking really cool, and I think it would be great to actually wear at several of the patriotic things that we have going on this summer. But what do you guys think? Please drop me some comments down below and let me know. And if you've enjoyed watching the video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'll hit the bell, you'll receive a notification whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.